All right, welcome folks. Mil-Spec Ops Monkey here. Now today I'm going to do a Monkey Minute. I haven't done one in quite some time. And so I wanted to kind of get those back into the sequence. When we started doing the Watchman Hour and then I got sick, it just threw everything into upheaval. And so for today, we're going to do a quick Monkey Minute. I just want to bounce around the world. This is going to be news as it relates to the Bible, okay, and things that are happening biblically around the world that really aren't being looked at. And so got to keep our eyes on this because this is the stuff that is happening on a regular basis that the mainstream media does not report, okay? All right, so we'll kick it off first. We're going to look at Erdogan talking about Turkey and Israel jointly bringing gas into Europe. I point this out because it's very important. If you look at Ezekiel 38, it talks about Gog and Magog and God putting a hook in their mouth, in their jaws, and bringing them back in and drawing them in. So could this be the hook or the setup of the hook? Everybody really believes that it has to do with the natural gas or energy. Remember, Israel is sitting on one of the biggest gas shales in the world, and they also have an oil reserve that is unmatched right directly below them as well. So, very interesting dynamic. Now, also don't lose sight that Ezekiel talked about some 2,700 years ago, a trilateral agreement or these three countries coming together, which hasn't happened up until 2017. Russia, Iran, and Turkey signed an agreement for de-escalating Syria. Now that happened in 2017, and they've since had a very good, strong relationship in the region, okay? So we got to pay close attention to that because that is all taking shape for Gog-Magog or Ezekiel 38, okay? Now, the other thing too I want to point out is that there is an increase in unrest. We see it all around the world. The Bible tells us that will happen. If you look at Matthew 24, it talks about wars and rumors of wars. It talks about just the fact that everything, social unrest is going to be on the uptick. And we are kind of seeing that. If you look around the world right now, just in the past 18 months, there's been 7 coup attempts in Africa, which is pretty remarkable. 7, when you really think about it. Burkina Faso, Chad, Guinea, Mali, Sudan, Niger, as well as Guinea-Bissau, and I'm probably butchering these names, but nonetheless, you get my point. A lot of stuff going on, and so this was just something to just kind of keep on your radar. It's a data point, but there's a lot of that going on. Also in the world, we look at ISIS kind of re-emerging. Remember, they kind of went away during the Trump time, right? And so now we're talking about ISIS has conducted over 2,700 plus attacks worldwide in 2021. And so we take the coup attempts, we take the social unrest, we take this stuff going on with ISIS. And you can see when you look at the big picture and you pull it all together, quite a bit going on in terms of unrest. Now let's get over here to the Sudan and Darfur, where there's deadly clashes taking place. I want to point that out because remember, the rebels continue to operate in Libya, but there's not just them. If you look at the region, something interesting that we kind of lose sight of because it's not being reported is the fact that Moscow, Russia, actually has a very big presence in Libya right now. Now keep in mind too, there's a presidential election that's about to take shape in Libya. That is, Omar Gaddafi's son is actually one of the presidential candidates, which is really interesting. But just take a look at this map. Russia now has bases active in Benghazi, okay? You've got them over in Tobruk, which is new bases that are active. So they've got 2 bases established. And then, of course, they got the anti-ship missiles and all the weaponry going into place there. S-300 air defense missile systems, all right there in Libya, which is just a hop, skip, and a jump, and from there over to Europe and from that region. So keep that in mind. Very dynamic change, and this is something that really a lot of people don't know is actually taking place. So, okay, there is that. Now let's get over here and take a look at what happened in Afghanistan. It looks like Pakistan and the Taliban are actually about to clash. This kind of expected as we pulled out of the region. But it is the situation of there is definitely not good. Again, another knock on the current administration. So keep in mind too that they have mass food shortages, and the economy has pretty much collapsed over there. So there you have that. So that looks like that's also taking shape. And then over here too, just want to show you thousands are protesting in Ukraine against this Russian threat. We think this is all going to go hot here in the next coming days or weeks. But if you just look at the big picture, you've got stuff going on in Ukraine. You've got Myanmar that's actually also a major upheaval. You've got the U.S. sending warships and jets to protect the Arab allies from missile and drone attacks in Yemen by the Iranian-backed Houthi rebels. Just all kinds of things going on. Now, you also have things going on in Canada. You've got giant trucker protests that are getting everybody's attention. I'm telling you, man, the world is heating up hotter than a junkie spoon right now. We need to all be paying attention, because if you look at it as a culmination of all the events, you know, racked and stacked, we are in the wars and rumors of wars segment of Matthew 24. It's incredible. Okay, now let's get to our natural disasters. We have a new eruption at Krakatoa, east of Java. And so I know somebody right now just had a B-52 song go into their head, and it did it to me too, so you're not alone. But anyway, Krakatoa is a massive volcano. We just saw one in that same region that was an underwater volcano that basically got everybody's attention. So now we've got Krakatoa popping off. Remember, there are about 40 plus 45 range active volcanoes around the world right now, which is an unprecedented level. The other thing too is we just saw Dutch Sense actually talking about this one. There is some activity going on in Oregon. Now, we've seen the tremors that were very large off the coast of Oregon in that Cascadian region, but this is actually, they're showing now an uplift near the South Sister volcano in Oregon. Also, it's I don't know, it's going to be very interesting to say the least, but they've got their eyes on what's going on here. Are we about to have an eruption off the West Coast? Maybe. Time will tell. But anyway, keep your eyes on this one. I think, you know, we always watch Yellowstone. We always watch this stuff that's going off the coast of Oregon. These are the kind of things that just kind of creep up on you and are game changers, right? So something like this goes off in the United States. It will interrupt air travel. It interrupts, it could have an effect on climate and crops and all kinds of different things. So pay attention to that, okay? Now, last but not least, this one is actually one of the coolest things. These are the kind of stories I love to report on or find, because you definitely don't hear this in the mainstream media. So astronomers have now discovered 1,000 strange filaments of radio energy bursting from the galaxy's center. They're saying that there are 10 times more of these structures than they realized. As you can see, the way it looks, but these are radio signals, which is kind of an interesting thing. They say that these they stretch from the center of the galaxy, and they're very thin, but some of them stretch to 150 light years across, which is nearly 40 times the distance between the Earth and the next star system. So what I find very interesting, and this is the kind of things that you just think, you know, God is just so amazing. It says these structures of the filaments come in pairs, others in equally spaced sets like the strings of a harp. It just kind of makes you wonder what sounds are actually coming out of that. It's just simply amazing. But all right, so that's going to be our Monkey Minute for today. Hope you enjoyed it. I will try to get back on the track of these things. So, but in the meantime, stay frosty out there. God bless. Monkey out. Check out the latest gear and products at monkeywerxus.com.